What's up, guys? It's Quest, and in this commentary, I'm going to be talking about my life from ages of being born to 10. I'm just going to start off from telling you I was a very demented child. My childhood was, it was funny, it was hilarious. I have some different things that I went through and different things that I did that probably make me stand out from most normal kids. To start off, I was born dead. Well, you know how an umbilical cord can get wrapped around a neck? Well, let's just say mine wasn't wrapped once, or twice, or 3 times. It was probably wrapped to the point where the umbilical cord could probably barely come out. I was born dead, I was completely blue, and they had to cut the umbilical cord and resuscitate me. So that just tells you a little bit about how my life started off. I'm going to tell you a couple stories, actually a few stories that I've been through and things that have happened to me in my life. Not in chronological order, but just things that I think are hilarious. Like one time, I used to always love eating cheese, like blocks of cheese. I'd always eat like probably half a block of cheese at a time. And I went into the kitchen to go get the block of cheese, and my sister told me no. And of course, me being probably about 4 or 5, I got pissed. I wanted my block of cheese. So I went to my kitchen table, I broke off one of the legs on the chair, and well, needless to say, I hit her with it. Probably wasn't the smartest decision, but I wanted my block of cheese. She wouldn't give it to me, so I got it how I wanted it. And then another time on the from hurting people, I used to love Batman. Like, I was obsessed with it for the longest time, and I'd always go around singing da da da, stuff like that, you know, I'm Batman, and all these different things. And I had a knife in my hand one time, and I was chasing my brother around saying I'm Batman, and he was running and running and running, and then finally he ran into his room and he locked the door on me. So I was trying to find my next victim, and it just so happened my sister was sitting right there on the couch, and needless to say, I went to her like I do every other thing, and I jumped off the chair and I screamed Batman, and I stabbed her in the knee. It was probably like 3 good centimeters deep. It was bad, but it was very bad. I was so much in trouble. That's obviously. And then another thing that I've always been crazy. Like I'm an adrenaline junkie since the day I was born. And so one time I jumped off a ladder, and when I landed, it just wasn't good. I didn't realize that there was a broken glass sun tea jar on the ground. If you don't know what that is, that's like a jar, and it's like has a little spout at the bottom, and you put your tea bags, well, you put your tea bags, water, and you sit it out in the sun for like probably 3 days, so the sun that can seep the tea bags, and it makes sun tea. Self-explanatory. But anyways, one was broken right next to the ladder, and I didn't realize it, and so me being stupid, I jumped straight off the ladder, and I jumped right onto the glass, and it split not my pinky toe, but the toe right next to it on my right foot. It completely tore it, the bone in half and everything. The only thing that was holding it together was a nerve. And so my mom put me in the car, and I was perfectly fine. Like, I wasn't crying. I didn't think anything was seriously wrong, but obviously my toe was hanging there. So my mom put me in her car. She wrapped a towel around it, and she brought some extra towels. By the time we got to the hospital, there was probably about 3 towels soaked in blood, and I was perfectly fine. And then when I got to the hospital, the nurse, she laid me down, and I didn't know what she was doing, so I slapped her. So a couple nurses had to come in, and like they held me down to sew my toe back and like put the bone back together to where it'll graft back together. And I kept trying to sock the nurses. I've always been a destructive little kid. Like, I break anything in sight. Like, one time I was playing baseball, and I thought it would be funny to throw the baseball up and hit it with the bat towards my house. One time I put it through the window. Actually, I've done that numerous times. I've broken so many different things. Like, I've punched walls, like messing around, not thinking I was doing anything wrong, but being young and stupid, I just kind of do what I want. And I would always bang my head on things. And one thing in particular, doorknobs. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to bang my head on, but it's what I banged it on. I busted out all of my teeth. And it's partially why I have a lisp now, because I messed up some of my teeth, but they're good. And so yeah, that's just a little bit about my life. You know, a lot of the times I had anger issues, and like, okay, me and my brother, we were really close, and we've always been close, and I never got to see him too much because a lot of the time he was in and out of juvenile hall, and so that was hard on me. And obviously, he's like my role model. It's gonna make me mad that I don't see him, so that's partially mostly why I had all these problems, like just messing around and like being destructive, and just that I kind of blame it on that. But I know I was just a little demented child. But that's a lot about my life. That's probably from ages around, from being born for a fact, but from like all the destructive things and like jumping in, hitting my sister with a knife, throwing a freaking chair into her face, splitting her nose open for a block of cheese, you know, jumping off the ladder, breaking anything in sight, busting my teeth on a doorknob. Oh, and then one time hitting my head on a coffee table. That was all from ages like 2 to 10. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy. Peace.